it's Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're going to take a look at fan control on the Jginyue B650i Night Devil. This is a rather cheap, cost-effective motherboard that you can pick up from AliExpress and possibly other places as well. But the downside is the software support isn't fantastic, so taking control of your fans isn't always the easiest thing to do. But don't worry, there is a saviour on hand, and I'm going to show you how to use fan speed to actually take control of your fans within the Windows operating system. You can also control the fans in the BIOS, but it's not quite as easy and it doesn't have much of a GUI. So let's take a look at it and see what we can do. So this is the BIOS for the motherboard, and if we go over to the settings cog and go down to hardware monitor, you can see here, and this is where you can control your fans and also analyze temperatures, etc. So there's not a great deal on here. We've only got two fan headers on the motherboard, one of which is designated for the CPU fan and the other one is for a system fan. Now you can connect up multiple fans to either of those headers if you want to, but they will all share the same characteristics. So what I mean by that, if you've got one fan which is 120mm, the other one's 140, if you set a PWM signal range to a certain thing, the fans are going to be kind of out of sync, but they are going to be doing the same thing effectively. Anyway, I digress. Chances are a lot of people are probably just going to use a fan hub for the system fan 1 controller and have maybe a bunch of fans all running at the same speed and probably the same style and lighting, etc. Anyway, let's move on. So when it comes to controlling the fans, so you've got the CPU fan controller first of all. You've got the choice for smart mode or manual mode. So if you go to manual mode, you can just put in a static PWM value. So this will mean a static speed entirely. So if we put the range as 255, that'll be full speed. Now, rather than show this as percentage, they've shown it as a PWM value. Now, the PWM controllers on these particular motherboard headers have a range between 0 and 255. So that is basically instead of showing a percentage. So 255 would be 100%. If you set it to 130, for instance, that'll be around about 50%. Hopefully that makes some sense, but ideally this is not what you want for a CPU fan controller, because you want it to actually change speeds as temperatures increase or decrease. So we'll set this back to smart mode, and you can see here, so now we've got our fan start temperature. So this is the first temperature in Celsius that the fan should actually start rotating. Now most fans these days won't go down to 0 RPM, so this starting temperature isn't that important. You can set it to 10, 20, 0, whatever you want to. The lower the temperature, the wider the spread of the PWM. So I'm going to set it to 20, which is about the lowest our CPU will ever get in this particular setup, and our fan full speed temperature. So this particular CPU, which is the 8600G, normally kind of under a big load will get up to about 85, 90 degrees Celsius. So I want my fan to be at its full speed when it gets to around about 80 or 85. So let's say 80 for argument's sake here. And next we have our fan start PWM. So you can set it to 0, so that'll be the lowest possible speed the fan can possibly be. If you want it to be the fastest, then you put it in 225. So that is your PWM range. I'm going to set ours to 0. Next we've got our slope. So the slope is basically how quickly it increases the PWM range in comparison with the CPU temperature. So if you set it to a slope of 2, it's going to be less aggressive. If you set it to a maximum of 15, as you can see here over on the side, the slope goes between 0 and 15. So if you set it to 15, it's going to be a very aggressive slope. So it's going to try and ramp up as quickly as it possibly can. So I'm going to set mine to around about 2. For me, that seems to be absolutely fine. Obviously, do play around with these to see which works best for you. It isn't that important because when we get into Windows shortly, we can override all these settings anyway with fan speed. But if you don't want to use fan speed, you just want to set up the fans for this motherboard in the BIOS and forget about it, this is where you make your changes. And of course, we've got basically the same thing for our other fan controller. So we're going to set it to smart mode. You can, like I said previously, set it to manual mode and set it to a static speed if that suits. Maybe you've got some sort of media center and you never really want the fans to ramp up over a certain threshold, then that might be useful. But again, I'm going to set it to the same as the other fan. So maximum temperature, I'm going to go to 80, and the fan slope will start at 0. Sorry, the fan start PWM will be 0, and also the slope will leave at 2, so it's not particularly aggressive. So that is basically how to set up the fans in the BIOS, which should be absolutely fine. The problem is with this, if you need to go in and then tweak anything, so you can make it a little bit quieter or increase cooling whilst you're in Windows, it's a pain in the backside. You have to come back into the BIOS and tweak these a little bit until it works as you want it to. So this is where we go into Windows and we use fan speed to take further control. So let's save and exit from here. We'll save changes and exit, which is that top one. Save changes and exit, yes, we do want to do that, so we'll click on yes, and now we'll reboot into Windows. Okay, so now we're in Windows, so let's open up the browser of choice here. So on this PC it's Google Chrome, and we'll go to the fan speed website, or fan control, sorry. Keep on calling it fan speed. Fan control is what it's called. Links for it in the video description anyway, so you can find it, and I'll adjust the title of the video accordingly rather than fan speed. Anyway, so fan control is a highly focused fan controlling software for Windows. No installation required, low on resources, high on power. So that sounds pretty good. So we'll download the latest version, which is V214 at the time of recording. You've got portable versions or you've got the installer. So I'm going to go with the installer version with the .NET framework, just in case I haven't got .NET installed. There we go, that's downloaded. Very small, only 8 megabytes in size. So now we can go over to our downloads folder, and we'll right click on that and choose run as administrator so we can install it. You will get the smart screen prevention message coming up here because, yeah, basically it's an unknown publisher, so it's absolutely fine. So click on run anyway, and now you'll get the user account control to actually install. So we'll click on yes, and you have the license agreement. You don't really have much choice but to agree it. Click next and give it a location to install. So we'll leave it set to the defaults. And also, if you want to, you can create a desktop shortcut, which for the purpose of this video, I will do, but you don't have to. And now we can actually launch fan control. So we'll click on finish. And we can close down our browser, don't need that anymore. And close down this window. And it comes with a nice little installer. So it says, welcome to fan control. Take a minute to agree the user agreement or license agreement. We'll just click OK. So now what it's going to do is, part of the assisted setup, it's going to actually try and find what fans we've actually got in the system or what fan headers are actually able to be detected. So we're going to click on OK to let it proceed. And in this section, you can leave this basically as it is. The ones we're more interested here is motherboard, CPU, but we can leave these other ones as they are. So the default settings are absolutely fine. So we'll click on OK. And the application is going to be refreshed. And you can see it's already found some sensors already. So it's got 4 that it's detected potentially. So now what it's going to do is going to actually try and detect what fans are doing what and where they're doing it. So just let it go ahead, do its thing, and it will test all of your fans and test them at various speeds, etc. Just to make sure that the sensors are basically doing what they're supposed to do. Depending on your motherboard, if you've got a slightly different motherboard, you may find that it picks up many more fans and many more headers, and potentially even ones on your graphics card and possibly even PSUs. Now it's starting automatic fan calibration, and now it's going to try and detect the high and low points of the fans themselves. So it's getting a little bit noisy now, so it's setting all of the available fans to 100%, and what it's going to do is going to gradually drop down the RPM range or the PWM range to get an idea of what RPMs the fans are capable of. Again, just let it carry on, do its thing, and we'll come back when it's finished. At this point, you should find that your fans are becoming very quiet indeed, and possibly borderline silent. I like this a lot. Now, you'll probably find at some RPM range or some PWM range, the RPM won't change, but the percentage will, and that is just because the fan can't physically spin any slower than a specific PWM target, which is embedded into the fan itself rather than the controller. So there we go, the fans have been identified, and we've only got the 2, which is what we entirely expected, because we've only got 2 headers. One is for the CPU fan, one is for the chassis fan. So what you need to do now is to basically try and work out which one is which, because obviously the description fan 2 or fan 3 isn't particularly useful for us. So you can move these sliders until you find that the fans are much quieter or much louder. So if they're visible, you can see them and see what sort of speed they're running at. So this at the moment, fan 2 would appear to be our CPU cooler. If we turn that down to 0, or the lowest it will go, and then turn up the other one. Yep, that's definitely our front system fan. So let's set those all back to 0 to keep it nice and quiet. So now we can rename these to something more useful. So we'll call this CPU fan. And if we go to this one, we'll do the same thing. So we'll just delete all of that. And we'll call it system fan. You can call them whatever you like. The choice is yours. So you can just put S for system if you wish. The choice is yours. So those are appropriately named now and identified. So we can click on OK. And now you've got the options of settings. So if you want this to run every time Windows starts up, which I would probably recommend you do, just so you've got access to it, you can do that at user logon. And you don't have to have it actually full screen or anything. So you can start it minimized, so it just ends up in your taskbar down here. And also you've got the option for showing hidden cards. Now we don't really want to see hidden cards, so we'll get rid of those. And now we can see we've got our fans. So this is where we can actually make some changes. So the default setup for fan control is a static curve, which doesn't make any sense, it's counterintuitive. But curves are basically fan profiles, of which you can install or configure multiple ones. And you can have it so each fan header can use a different type of curve. So be it flat, staggered, whatever you want to do. So at the moment, what we could do is for a system fan, we pretty much want that to stay relatively static. So we can choose to use our flat curve, which is set to 50%. Now 50% might be a little bit too noisy for us. So we can just go ahead and reduce that to something which is appropriate for the system or for your noise levels. So we could set that to 35%. So that means now the system fan is going to constantly spin at 35% of the PWM range, and it's going to be roughly around about 680, 690 RPM, and it's never going to change. CPU gets warmer, doesn't matter. GPU gets warmer, doesn't matter. It's always going to stay the same. So for some people that might be appropriate, for others probably not. So what we want to do is we want to add a new curve. So in order to do that, we'll click on the plus button, and you've got all of these different types. You've got automatic, synchronous, flat, trigger, mix, graph, etc., linear. So I personally like to use the graph one. It's something I'm quite used to. So now we've added that, so we now have our graph here. So at the moment, this is what the graph is like. So starts off low, ramps up, and gets to a flat line. Now again, that may be suitable for you, but you may want to edit it, and we actually do. And also we need to choose a temperature source, because otherwise it doesn't know what to react to. So in this system, because it is a mini ITX, we only really need to take advantage of the actual CPU cores. That's going to be absolutely fine. The other sensors on the board are for the graphics card, which is integrated, and also got 2 temperature sensors actually on the motherboard itself, which one would be probably for the VRM and maybe one for the SoC, or possibly the Northbridge chipset, whatever. So we're going to choose the CPU, and now we're going to edit our curve. So in here you can make lots of changes. You can change your temperature source again if you want to. There's lots of things you can do. So you set your minimum and maximums, etc. All I'm going to do here is just going to change this slope slightly. So we want our fan to be 100% speed at around about sort of 80 degrees, because I don't want it getting any hotter than that. So then we have this basically very sharp curve going from around about 40 degrees Celsius, being at 21% of the fan speed. So fan speed is this axis and temperature is the bottom axis. So what we want to do is just to kind of flatten this out a little bit, or make it less aggressive. So in order to do that, you can add new points. So just click on the point and you can drag this down, and you can make multiple points if you want to make it more curved or less aggressive. The choice is up to you. You can just keep on adding them. If you right click, you can remove them and it will just flatten the game. So don't worry if you make a mistake. All these can be just dragged around to wherever you want them to. So what I'm going to do, because this PC is going to be mostly for a media center, I don't really want it ramping up whilst I'm watching a movie, or if there's Windows updates or something. So I'm going to keep this relatively shallow, which is going to give us higher CPU temperatures, but is going to give us a quieter system. Now if you want the opposite and you want a cooler system, just increase your fan speeds, and then your system will therefore be generally slower. that makes sense. So if you want it to be cooler, make this higher. If you want it to be quieter, make it lower. It's not exactly rocket science, and like I said earlier, the best thing to do with this sort of stuff is just to kind of have a play with it and yeah, just see what works for you. Let's get rid of some of those. Actually, we don't need all of these. It's a little bit too much, really. I think that is going to be absolutely fine. So that is absolutely great for me. And you can also got your response time, so how quickly you want the fans to respond to changes in temperature. Again, if you don't want it to be as aggressive, you can change it to a lower thing, so less of maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. The choices are pretty much up to you for the majority of this stuff. Again, if you make a mistake, just right click on it and you can remove it. So I'm happy with that. So that is going to do us pretty good. So click on OK. So now what we've got is, that is our graph. Now this actually hasn't been applied to any fans yet. So this is just like a curve, which is an option. So in order to actually apply this graph or this particular curve to a particular fan, you have to go to the curve section, turn on the curve, and then on the drop down box you'll see you've got options for our new graph. So there we go, we've applied that, and as you can see now, we'll probably see this moving around, and you'll also see your RPMs change, etc. So that is kind of effectively it. There's many other things you can do in fan control, lots of other settings and things. You can change things like the themes, so if you want different colors, etc. Your tray icons, you can have a tray icon which will normally reside down here. So we've got our fan there. So in the tray icon, let's actually show the temperature. I think that's quite a handy thing to have. So now it's showing our CPU temperature. So again, pretty cool stuff. In the settings as well, you can start minimized, user logon delays, etc. And you can check for updates, which I would recommend you do. Also, you can edit the sources. So actually in your sources, when it's detected, you can choose the sensor nicknames and rename them to something which makes more sense to you if you want to. And also there's some plugins, but we're not going to go into that too much. But I think that's going to pretty much wrap things up. Hopefully this has made some sense to you. And also if you are a owner of this Jginyue B650i Night Devil and you're struggling to set up the fans to how you want them in actually Windows, I think this is going to be very useful indeed. So there you go, there are some tips and tricks on how to get some decent fan control on our Jginyue motherboard. Again, this applies to any motherboard, so if you're running a PC and it's running Windows, even laptops, potentially you can go in, use this software to get more control. It's a little bit of a learning curve, and going through all of the different settings can be a little bit daunting, but hopefully this video has given you some sort of primer into it so you can see how it works and how potentially you can make changes for yourself. Now, of course, as always, if you've got any comments or questions, or you need any kind of tips or advice, please feel free to reach out in the comments section. If you want a faster response, head over to our Discord, it's completely free of charge to join. The links for that are also in the video description, and we'll try and help you out as best we can. I think that's going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have, smash the like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting subscribe and the chime notification. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video, before my precarious PC falls on the floor. Thanks for watching.